Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your direct purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing one of my favorite watches ever, and a timepiece that truly makes me wonder whether this is the time to get back into collecting. Released in 2008, the 42mm white gold Ulysse Nardin Sonata Silicium is a 500-piece limited edition with an alarm, a second time zone, and advanced silicon technologies introduced for the first time in Ulysse Nardin timepieces and setting the pace for the industry as a whole. Now, in white gold, the watch is substantial, but it's not terribly thick. 42 millimeters in diameter, the watch is 13.5 millimeters thick, and from lug to lug, 50 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. You'll note it is a limited edition. We'll talk more about that in a moment. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it is a large watch. Because of the shape of the lugs, I'd recommend it for wrists no smaller than 15 centimeters circumference. You could see with the thin profile and the tapered concave bezel, it wears fairly thin. It's just very broad, and that's characteristic of most Ulysse Nardin case designs. The strap is fantastic. As you can see, it's medium rectangular scale alligator leather, matte finish, substantially bolstered to add volume. It includes a monotone stitch and a folded edge, and as you can see, this is a brand new Ulysse Nardin factory strap. There is a matching white gold deploying clasp, which features trigger release, so it can't accidentally pop open, and then you can see it's double finished with satination, media blasting, and polishing inside, and it uses spring-loaded ceramic pin snaps so that the tolerances will remain just as crisp over time, as the gold cannot aggress against the ceramic. The case is beautifully made and expressive. These Ulysse Nardin cases are beautiful and complex. It's the welded profile of the lug into the case that really gets me, because the finishing, black polish on both and a sharp break between them, is immensely charismatic and indicative of case manufacture at the highest level of ability. There's a lovely fluting to the lug profile that takes some of the visual mass away, and you can see that there's a symmetry to the crowns and the winglet pushers on both sides. There's a lovely lacquered insert with the UN anchor, reminding you that Ulysse Nardin historically was known for its navigation clocks. And then you can see that the bezel itself is concave, much like many Patek Philippe complications. It also features a engraved limited edition notation, and indeed the watch is a limited edition, 500 pieces of which this is number 032. And on the dial, you can see another reminder that this is a special watch, as the beautiful ruthenium-coated, nickel anthracite ruthenium-coated dial side Côte de Genève are capped by an iridescent reflective disc of silicon, reminding you that Ulysse Nardin, with the Freak from 2001, was the first to introduce silicon into the watchmaking industry, and through its purchase of Sigatech in 2006, brought that technology in-house, the first company to do so. Now, you'll also appreciate that there's a lot going on this dial. Not only the applique indices and loom outboard, the wonderful loop style skeletonized hands, an on-off indicator for the alarm, a minute repeater style centrifugal governor to pace and slow down the chimes of the alarm, a second time zone in 24-hour format, a double-digit date that can be quick set forward and backwards, a countdown alarm setting in 24-hour format, and of course a clock time setting, so you can actually set any time over the 24 hours of the day. And if you prefer to think of it as countdown time, let's say you need to be somewhere in 2 hours, you can set the countdown to ring after 2 hours. So you have two different ways to set: 24-hour format for the time of day, and then a countdown format. Now you have the on-off toggle, so you can choose to turn the alarm on or off. You get a lot of options, and there are dial-side fired blue screws on top of everything else. You'll note the Rahal outboard is deeply sloped, so the dial has fantastic depth. Let's talk a little bit about that alarm, because I know you're dying to hear it. You pull the crown out all the way to set the alarm, and I'm going to set it to 0. So if I set this precisely enough, you can set it forward or backwards, take note. And I'm going to activate it, and hopefully you can see the governor stop, and you can see when I had the watch rolled over to its case back, the black polished striker acting against a cathedral gong. Not a standard minute repeater gong. No, this is better. It encircles the movement 1.5 times as a cathedral gong rather than the single encirclement of a standard gong. So you have the repeater governor, cathedral gongs, Minute repeater style striker, black polished, and a lovely lyrical cadence with the resonator separate from the case. It's anything but the rattling cricket of a standard alarm watch. And because you have a GMT plus minus system, you are able to adjust the hour forward or backwards, including driving the date bidirectionally. Now, the on-off toggle for the alarm is also a bidirectional setting tool, so you can adjust the date forward or backwards, whichever is easier. Turning the watch over, you have UN manufacturer caliber 67. Though distantly based on the Lamagna automatic, UN has made it its own. You can see there's a white gold rotor with a silicon insert and a beautiful rusticated etched pattern. You'll appreciate the fact that on the Silicium, the Sonata Silicium, the bridges are actually nickel anthracite coated for that lovely dark color. You have more blued screws. You also have some of the refinements that make this the Sonata Silicium, as there is an anti-magnetic silicon hairspring, and though you can't see it, an unlubricated full silicon escapement with both escape wheel and anchor. That extends the service interval of the watch out to over 5 years and allows the watch to run more precisely in between servicings. Another refinement made for the Sonata Silicium, though not quite entirely visible, is the use of a free-sprung index, so the watch is much more shock resistant and able to hold its factory adjustment better in the face of bumps and concussions on the wrist. You're not deceived by your eyes. 109 joules. This movement has 109 joules. Beaten away at 8 beats per second, it uses a magic lever, super smooth and efficient bidirectional winding system to energize a 48-hour power reserve. 30 meters water resistant, but hey, nothing is perfect. This watch does it all. I don't want you to buy this. Let me think about this for a while. Please, I'm begging you. If you must, email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. The Sonata by Night